Calaroga Shark Media.
Yes, we're going to talk about Stephen Colbert. Of course we will, but we got some other stuff to do up top. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. The great dramatic actor Adam Sandler is making a comedy. Now, I don't know about this one. Boy, you can tell how excited I am. All right, what is he making this time, John? Grown Ups 3. Jesus. Come on, man. You were so good at Jay Kelly. You're so good at the dramatic stuff. Will you stop? Grown Ups 3 is in development at Netflix. Netflix announced this at their Upfronts last week. The script for Grown Ups 3 is by Adam Sandler and Tim Herlihy. Producers include Adam Sandler and famous producer Jackie Sandler. In case you haven't seen the Grown Ups films, the franchise revolves around a set of childhood friends who are brought back together as adults over the course of a summer vacation. The friends include David Spade, Rob Schneider, Kevin James, and Chris Rock, all set to return for the threequel. Really, Chris Rock? I'm impressed if they can get Chris Rock for this. Chris, why would you do this film? Paycheck? Okay, I get it. It's been 13 years since Grown Ups 2. This time it is believed the friend group travels to Europe along with their families to spread their deceased friend's ashes. Is this like a different friend, or is Chris Rock in this thing for 2 minutes? That would all make sense. We'll see. We'll see. I can see that. Now, Johnny Mac, you can hate all you want, but Grown Ups and the sequel Grown Ups 2 have grossed over $500 million at the box office. Grown Ups has a 10% rating from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Grown Ups 2 was even more poorly received, but that's not going to stop Netflix. And if you like that kind of humor, boy, you're going to love The Hawk. That's Will Ferrell's upcoming golf comedy series. If Will becomes unavailable, you can drop Adam Sandler right in the middle of this one. There is a trailer. I went to pull the audio, but it's too visual because it's got yuck jokes like people being hit with a golf ball. Hilarious. In The Hawk, Will Ferrell plays Lonnie Hawkins, 2004's #1 golfer. Again, this is so Sandler. Hawkins struggles on the back nine of his career, trying to recapture his magic. His body says retire, but his heart says he's not done yet. His ex-wife and his son Lance, who happens to be golf's new golden boy, know that Lonnie is through, but with one more major to win to complete golf's grand slam, Lonnie refuses to believe he's anything other than one stroke away from the greatest comeback in golf history. Molly Shannon plays Lonnie's foul-mouthed ex-wife Stacy. Also appearing in this thing, Fortune Feimster, Luke Wilson, Chris Parnell, David Hornsby, who's usually great in things, and some others. Can't wait. Nick Kroll has a new comedy series. This one called 100%. It stars Nick Kroll, Sam Richardson, Jason Mantzoukas, and Vanessa Bayer. Hopefully that'll keep her away from the Scrubs reboot. The cast portrays a group of friends working inside the thought leader industrial complex. Their books, podcasts, and morning routines might help us live our lives more perfectly, but away from the screens and mics, these characters are most definitely far from perfect. You know, I do think this fits into Jason and Kroll's wheelhouse. This could be good. Kroll said, "I'm thrilled to make this show with Gabe and this insane cast. I can't wait to explore this high-functioning group of friends who endeavor to live their weird lives." That could actually be good. Wanda Sykes has a special ad on Netflix today. It is called Legacy. I went to pull the trailer. She swears a lot, so I passed. Netflix tells us, with the trademark wit and fearless insight that have earned her multiple Emmy wins and nominations, Wanda Sykes delivers an hour of bold, smart, and laugh-out-loud comedy that cements her legacy as a comedy icon. That is the most generic description I've ever seen. Anyway, that's on Netflix today, and by the time you're hearing my voice at 3:05 a.m., friend of the show and Facebook group regular Dylan, he's probably watched it maybe twice. Dylan and I keep very different hours, I think. Apparently, Mike Epps' Netflix special Delusional did really well. It was his 5th for Netflix, and they've given him a deal for 2 more. Netflix is playing the long game. They plan to release specials by Mike Epps in 2028 and 2030. The press release tells us that Mike Epps specials have racked up 12.5 million views. That doesn't even include Delusional, which ranked as the number 5 English language TV title globally on Netflix in its debut and rose to number 3 on the U.S. top 10 list. YouTube had upfronts of sorts. Trevor Noah was your host. He said, "Some of you may recognize me from stand-up comedy. Some of you may recognize me from my podcast. Some of you might recognize me from The Daily Show. Some of you might recognize me from the Grammys, but there's one place where you definitely see me, and that's on YouTube." These days, everything is on YouTube. Everything, sports, entertainment, interviews, podcasts, you name it. Well, coming to YouTube is Trevor Noah's World Tour, premiere date TBA. On Trevor Noah's world tour, Trevor Noah invites viewers along for the ultimate global hangout in this prestige travel series on YouTube. You know, I like travel and I like Trevor. I'm going to wind up watching Trevor Noah's world tour where comedy, culture, and spontaneity collide as Trevor Noah journeys from city to city on his world tour with friends, collaborators, and surprise guests joining the fun. Each episode blends Trevor Noah's signature humor with authentic on-the-ground experiences that spotlight local people, food, and culture. So it's Anthony Bourdain minus Anthony Bourdain plus Trevor Noah? Is that what I'm getting here? Not the worst idea. Along the way, Trevor turns his discoveries into sharp, hilarious observations that weave into his live performance, creating a fresh window into his comedic process and into the places that inspire him. That actually sounds pretty good. Mo Amer will host the 86th annual Peabody Awards May 31st at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel in Beverly Hills. Peabody Executive Director Jeffrey P. Jones said Mo Amer is the comedic voice we need now. His comedy is bold and refreshing because he mines his own personal heartfelt experiences as a refugee and blends them with cultural commentary that is powerful, moving, and very funny. Johnny Mac, you said you were going to talk about Stephen Colbert. All right. I mean, give me 9 minutes. I'll get to it. Stephen Colbert answers some questions from the other late-night hosts. I've clipped this down a little bit for pacing, but let's listen.
You got a question from Jay Leno? I'll tell you, when I got this gig, Jay Leno called me right away. And Jay goes, yeah, you got the Pope job. Yeah, you got the job till you're dead. You were wrong on that one, Jay. All right, from Jay Leno. As a road comic, I've always enjoyed live audiences. Have you ever thought about a road version of your best jokes for a live audience? Still waiting for the best jokes, Jay. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jay. Please send me a list of what my best jokes have been. And let's hit the road together. You Drive, from James Corden. How are things at CBS? Should I come back? 100%, James. 100%. Hold on, let me see what Corden actually asked. What have you been doing to mentally and emotionally prepare for your daily life after the show? Trevor and I can send a Zoom link if you need. Good question. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think there's any prepping for it. Look, I try not to make eye contact with the people in the building too much. I've always discouraged it, but now I'm really being a hard ass about it. Don't look me in the eye because I'm a weeper. And I like the show a lot, but I love the people I work with. And that's going to be hard. And they're so physically attractive. From Trevor Noah, is there anything you were never able to do because you had a late night show? And do you see yourself doing it now? Exercising. That's what I would like to do. I think my wife was waited long enough. It's time for abs. Okay, honey? From Conan O'Brien, just who the hell do you think you are? Sometimes I wish I was Conan O'Brien because I've never been able to dunk. From Jimmy Kimmel, is it true that hospitals are sometimes forced to send patients who are too obese for their MRI CT machines to be scanned at the zoo? Okay, it happened once, but then after that I got the shot, and I don't have to go to the zoo for my CT scan anymore. From Jimmy Fallon, you've had the best seats in the house for over 10 years. What's the one musical performance on your show that you and the crew still talk about? I mean, we just recently had Hosier and Lake Street Dive do Joe Cocker's Woodstock version of With a Little Help from My Friends. That's pretty fantastic.
The Times, they asked Stephen about why the show was canceled, saying that some are skeptical that it was for financial reasons. Colbert said, I do not dispute their rationale. I do make jokes about it, but I also completely understand why people would say, A, that doesn't make sense to me, and B, this seems fishy to me because the network did it to themselves by bending the knee to the Trump administration over a $20 billion settled for $16 million completely frivolous lawsuit. It's possible that two things can be true. Broadcast can be in trouble. They can't monetize because of things like YouTube, because of the competition of streaming. They've got the books. I don't have any desire to debate them over what they say their business model is and how it doesn't work for them anymore. But less than 2 years before they called me to say it's over, they were very eager for me to be signed for a long time, so something changed. By the way, oops. Who knows what they offered him? It is believed Colbert's current annual salary is around $15 million, and I think I have it somewhere in my head they wanted him for 5 years. As Johnny Mac likes to say, if somebody ever offers you $75 million, just say yes. Stephen said, I've really liked working with CBS. They've been great partners, and I'd like to end it that way. 11 years is a long time to work here, and almost 10 years before that, almost 21 years together in late night. I feel so much better to be grateful for than to be mad about. The discussion moved to taking over for David Letterman in 2015. Boy, time flies. I feel like I just watched that. I remember watching that on the upstairs TV. Stephen said, "It was my instinct to be less topical because I didn't want to have to engage with what I saw as an increasingly contentious public discourse, and I thought, aren't there other ways to have fun with the audience?" But in 2016, Colbert went all in on news. The Times said that change worked, right? Colbert said, "I was like Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven," or is it some other movie? He buried his guns, and I'm like, I buried those guns. I was talking to Paul Danello. He's one of my oldest friends and one of my producers here, and he's like, "You're having fun, and people like to see that." And I said, "But that means I got to go dig up the guns." And he says, "Buddy, that's the part the audience wants to see." They asked Stephen Colbert why he thinks the FCC and the Trump administration are so focused on him. Stephen told the New York Times, "Authoritarians don't like anybody who doesn't give them undue dignity. Comedians are anti-authoritarian by nature, and authoritarians are never going to like anybody to laugh at them. The number of news people have said to me or Jon Stewart or any of the guys who do this, 'God, I wish I could say what you say on air,' and we can. I think that upsets them. I think it might be upsetting, and we really don't live in their world of principalities and powers." Continuing about Trump and send your letters to Stephen Colbert, he said, "I don't have any problem with Trump being a Republican. I have a problem with Trump being a complete narcissist who's only working for his own interest and doesn't appear to care if the entire world burns. That's not a partisan position. I have eyeballs and ears, and I think calling late night partisan is just roughing the ref. And we don't even want to be refs, but they perceive us as refs. I reject the partisan description. Partisan means you're never ever going to make a joke about a Democrat, and that's just not true. There's just no comparison of how fertile the fields are." What's next for Colbert? He's working on a script for a Warner Brothers Lord of the Rings movie. He loves podcasts and spends more time with podcasts than any form of entertainment. That could be a clue there. Now, in the past, I think I have in my brain that he didn't want to do a podcast, but doesn't that seem like a no-brainer? I'm sure, just knowing the internal workings of Sirius, I'm sure they've either been on the phone with him, are on the phone with him right now, or will be on the phone with him at 12:38 a.m. Friday morning. Stephen says he wants to do comedy, but he's not sure what's next because the show takes 95% of his brain. "I don't think I can give you a good answer until I can really think about it." Will it be a relief to not have to think about Trump in the same way? Stephen said, "Oh yeah, now I could be as interested as I want to be on a daily basis as opposed to interested as I need to be to do a show about what our national conversation was about. I can opt out of the national conversation for day two. I mean, I'm American. I still care about my country. I'm still going to care, but I can do that recreationally, or privately." Out on the 800-pound Gorilla YouTube page today. Now, you got to pay attention because they're going back and forth between Gorilla Plus and the YouTube page. This is on the YouTube page. Shane Mauss, trips, parentheses, second dose. The ISH Edinburgh Comedy Awards will return to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 2026. James Corden is backing it. He said, "I am honored to support the brilliant ISH Edinburgh Comedy Awards again." Now in their fourth year, the awards continue to direct all sponsorship income straight to performers through prize money. Last year's prizes included £4,000 each for Best Show and Best Newcomer, $3,000 for the panel prize, $1,000 for Best Tech, and $500 for Best Joke. The winners are decided by a volunteer panel who attend every eligible comedy show at the Fringe, giving performers an equal chance regardless of venue, background, industry backing, or audience size. The 2026 awards are expected to retain the same 5 categories. Website The Spinoff is covering the New Zealand Comedy Festival. They say Henry Yan is the best bad date at the NZ International Comedy Festival. They tell us Wellington's Cavern Club is a bit of a dank hole in the wall, but it's a cozy place to catch some comedy. During a set focused on the highs and lows of life as a perpetually single 30-year-old, you really start to feel like you're on one of those bad first dates you'll never stop telling your friends about. The Spectator says they write this in the most complimentary way possible. The strength of Yan's comedy is in his awkwardness, the way he says, "ha ha ha, crazy," after every other line. The way he takes a joke bombing and turns it into another opportunity to make another joke, appealing to the audience's pity. You know what? This review has inspired me to find a clip. Let's listen.
"My parents are here. I love you. Your turn. Yeah, I left my computer for this. Yeah, so it's gonna be so fun. I'll just tell you guys, if someone walks in here like aggressive, I'm telling you that I'm not gonna protect you. Yeah, because recently someone asked me to protect them, and I was like, from what? Like, malware? Yeah, it was crazy, because what happened, it was on the street, right, in the city. These two guys were fighting, and the girl standing next to me, she turns to me, she's like, "Aren't you gonna stop the fight?" And I was like, "Oh, thank you for believing in me." Yeah, but I told her, look, I'm not a fighter. I'm a snitch.
Wow, he's pretty funny. I like that a lot. The Spectator tells us Henry Yann's audience work was also impactful. He seemed to make a genuine connection with a fellow spreadsheet obsessive in the crowd. Good stuff, Henry Yann. And that is your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.